As the preliminary matter, this is John Regan, Chair of the Auburn Planning Board. Permit me to confirm that all members and persons anticipated on the agenda are present and can hear me. We may have to do this twice because not everyone's here yet. Members, when I call your name, please respond in the affirmative. Ron Brooks. Nicholas Lynch. Steve Chambers.
Present.
Todd Corain. I'm going to continue with the reading, and we'll come back to the attendance. Town officials and employees participating, when I call your name, please respond in the affirmative. Town planner Adam Menard.
Here.
Staff assistant Rachel Pressey.
Present.
Good evening. This is the open meeting of the Town of Auburn Planning Board of Tuesday, May 25th, 2021, now called to order at 7 p.m. This meeting is being conducted remotely, consistent with Governor Baker's executive order of March 12th, 2020, due to the current state of emergency in the Commonwealth due to the outbreak of the COVID-19 virus. In order to mitigate the transmission of the COVID-19 virus, we have been advised and directed by the Commonwealth to suspend public gatherings, and as such, the Governor's order suspends the requirement of the open meeting law to have all meetings in a publicly accessible physical location. Further, all members of public bodies are allowed and encouraged to participate remotely. The order, which you can find posted with the agenda materials for this meeting on the town's website, allows public bodies to meet entirely remotely, so as long as reasonable public access is afforded, so the public can follow along with the deliberations of the meeting. For this meeting, the Planning Board is convening by remote participation for the public only. Although some members of the Planning Board are physically located in the Selectmen's Meeting Room at Town Hall, those members and employees are practicing social distancing in accordance with the Governor's orders. For the public to join the meeting remotely by telephone, call 1-312-757-3121 and enter access code 133-747-477. Or the public can join via computer at gotomeeting.com/join/133-747477. The remote access information has been posted on the town's website identifying how the public may join. Please note that this meeting is being recorded by the Auburn Cable Television. Accordingly, those members of the Planning Board, employees, and members of the public who participate, please be aware that other folks may be able to see you, and please take care not to share your screen. Anything you broadcast may be captured by the recording. All supporting materials that have been provided to the members of the body are available on the town's website. The public is encouraged to follow along using the posted agenda. Meeting ground rules. We are now turning to the first item on the agenda. Before we do so, permit me to cover some ground rules for effective and clear conduct of our business and to ensure accurate meeting minutes. I, Chair of the Board, will introduce each speaker on the agenda. After they conclude their remarks, the Chair will go down the line of members, excuse me, inviting each by name to provide any comment, questions, or motions. Please hold until your name is called. Please remember to speak clearly and in a way that helps generate accurate minutes. Excuse me. For any response, please wait until the Chair yields the floor to you and state your name before speaking. If members wish to engage in discussion with other members, please do so through the Chair, taking care to identify yourself. After members have spoken, the Chair will afford public comment as follows. The Chair will first ask members of the public who wish to speak to identify their names and addresses only. Once the Chair has a list of all public commentators, I will call on each by name and afford 3 minutes for any comments. Finally, each vote taken in this meeting will be conducted by a roll call vote. Excuse me. We're going to try the roll call vote again. I'll start at the top of the list. For attendance of the Planning Board, Ron Brooks, Nicholas Lynch, Steve Chambers is here, Todd Corain.
Here.
We still don't have a quorum, do we?
Oh, you do, you get 3.
3, okay. Excuse me. We now turn to the first item on the agenda. Applicant Eastland Partners Incorporated, a definitive subdivision plan for 3 building lots and construction of a roadway and related infrastructure improvements on property located at 50 and 190 Washington Street, map 34, lot 4, map 27, parcel 14. Is there anyone from Eastland Partners representing this project?
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. My name is Steve O'Connell from Turning Point Engineering on behalf of Eastland Partners.
Good evening. I believe this has gone back to Graves? Adam?
Yep, that's correct. I can give the board an update if that's what you'd like, unless you have some other business you'd like to discuss first.
You can give us a quick update, Steve. That'll be good.
Great. It looks like Adam's going to pull up plan number 11. Yep, that's the perfect sheet to start with. So I thought it would be beneficial for the board and for staff that I submit a little bit of a cover letter summarizing the revisions, which I did. I'm not sure if everyone had a chance to review it, but I'll just run through it quickly now. So after one of our last meetings, I've been in touch with Bill Coyle, and Bill, really just brought some common sense to the situation and said, at the end of the cul-de-sac, you're going to have a driveway that provides access to lot 2. And I said, yes. And he goes, you're going to have a parking area on lot 2 for whatever building you build on lot 2. I said, yes. And he said, you're going to have a development on lot 1 along Washington Street. I said, yes. He goes, it's only a short distance to connect a future parking area on lot 2 to a future parking lot on lot 1. I said, yeah, it actually is. And he goes, well, why don't we just connect to those, and that'll be the second means of egress. And I talked to my client and met with the Fire Captain Morin, Fire Prevention and Safety, and the result was the plan you see in front of you. So if you see the subdivision road comes off Washington Street on the right side of the plan. The road continues on. It goes off the plan a little bit, but then it comes back on in the cul-de-sac. So off the end of the cul-de-sac, we've got a 24-foot wide driveway, and then that provides access to lot 2, but it serves as the second means of egress, emergency access road. And then as it passes through lot 2, it pinches down to 20 feet as it crosses the wetland again and kind of comes back up to lot 1. So we met with, like I said, we met with Captain Morin. We got his criteria necessary to have this serve as a second means of egress for emergencies. And he's currently reviewing the plan, but I'm confident that he'll be satisfied because of his criteria going into it. There's a couple of aspects about this that I think the board will revisit when we're in front of you for site plan approval for lot 1 and lot 2. For example, nobody wants the second means of egress to come back out to Washington Street. It's just going to complicate having an additional curb cut. So this emergency access road will tie in somewhere on the development that will occur on lot 1, to be determined as that evolves. It could come up to the front of lot 1. It could come down to the back of lot 1. But the bottom line is that second means of egress will be provided from the cul-de-sac of the long subdivision road out towards Washington Street as part of the development of lot 1. So I think that's a significant amendment to the plans that I wanted to share, first and foremost. Other than a small water quality stormwater basin for a road that will hardly be traveled, there are no changes to the stormwater system for the subdivision. The stormwater basins that were on the previous revised plans remain as they were. So the next item that is related to this is sewage. In the same conversation with Bill Coyle, Bill did not like the sewage from the development connecting up to the sewer system in West Tech. He requested and suggested that we connect to the existing sewer system up at the rear of the development on town land. We got copies of the plans from Joanna, and were able to illustrate that essentially what happens is, as part of this emergency access road, gravity sewer will run in that road from Lot 1 and Lot 2 to a pump station off the cul-de-sac. You looking for the plan, Adam?
Yeah.
That's going to be a submersible pump station, Steve?
Yeah, it'll be a duplex wet well, so it'll have a wet well and then a valve pit, a well for the valve pit with control panels. It'll be, you know, municipal grade. I think if you look at sheet 8, there you go. So you can see on this sheet at the top of the page there's the existing gravity sewer line that runs the top of the hill up there along that ridge. We surveyed it. We verified information that was provided on the plans from the sewer department. And quite simply, instead of a force main running up the subdivision road along Route 20 and then up West Tech, the sewer will now just, by force main, pump up to this gravity location. And the advantageous part of this sewer connection is that couple of things. First of all, it's an easy run up through the town piece of land here. There's no major vegetation removal. There's a lot of brush and some understory growth. I've been there personally a few times. And the most advantageous part, I think, that Bill addresses Bill's concerns was that the sewage that runs through this piping network does not go through the siphon under the diversion channel. And as you may recall, that was one of Bill's concerns about other proposed points of sewer connection. So, we believe this will satisfy the sewer department's concerns, and hopefully the board will be satisfied as well. The other nice part about this is it takes sewer out of the subdivision road completely. All 3 lots that are proposed with this subdivision can connect to the pump station. Adam, could you go to sheet 8.1, please? Yep, there we go. So at the bottom, you can see it towards the bottom of that page near the cul-de-sac. We've reserved some space for the pump station. So the sewage flows from Lot 3, the sewage flows from Lot 2, and the sewage flows from Lot 1 will all be fed gravity to the pump station. Lot 1 and Lot 2 will come via the emergency access road, and Lot 3 will come directly into, a manhole before the pump station, all outside of the subdivision road. So for my client, it was a feasibility review, taking sewer out of the subdivision road as part of that infrastructure cost and putting that cost towards the second means of egress. So I think it's a very, beneficial for all parties that this is where we are in the design. A couple of other things briefly, following last planning board meeting, we got valuable input on tree spacing. So you'll see these plans here reflect 60-foot spacing for street trees, and they're staggered. So both sides of the road, they're not in the same location on the road. They're kind of staggered, so you get I think a more appealing effect. And the final item, based on input from the board, is that we've re-added the sidewalk on one side of the road. as requested by a majority of the board members. And that's where we're at. Graves Engineering had these revised plans. The fire department has revised plans, and other town departments have these revised plans. And we're optimistic that their reviews will come back favorable, and hope to near the end of the permitting of the subdivision.
Very good.
So that concludes the summary of the revisions, Mr. Chairman. Happy to discuss anything else you'd like to discuss.
Is there anyone from the public that may have a comment regarding this project? There being none, Steve Chambers, do you have any comments regarding this update?
I do, thank you. So I'm glad that there's another means of egress. Was there any consideration into making that a actual drive and then pulling the request for the additional 750 feet that you guys were looking for?
There was some consideration, and the reason we did not is because for it to come back out onto Washington Street would not be acceptable to Mass DOT. And the other aspect that was considered, during that evaluation was that the wetland alterations were about at the limit where it would require much more extensive review from a wetland impact standpoint. And as part of that review process, what has to happen is we have to look at alternatives. And one of the obvious alternatives would be a narrower driveway. And since I've been doing this for a long time, and I kind of know how these things go, I try to stay one step ahead. So I know that we can provide this second means of egress in compliance with, the NFPA reg codes that the fire department, uses as their jurisdictional regulations. So we meet or exceed those requirements, but also meet or exceed, wetlands impacts, kind of guidelines and regulations as well. So the fire captain was extremely happy, with the prospect of this. We're also going to loop the water. So there will, and I'm sorry I didn't mention that, we will be looping the water back out to Washington Street, which is, again, another added bonus that the fire captain was extremely happy with.
And have you received your approval for those curb cuts on the locations out onto Washington Street? They're in process with Mass DOT. We believe that we meet all their criteria, but the review process with DOT, is ongoing and will take a little longer. And then between lots 1 and 2, will they be able to access whoever's on there between those two lots, or do they still have to, how do they access that second lot? Will they be using Commerce Way?
Yeah, the only daily access to lot 2 will be from the cul-de-sac of Commerce Drive. They'll come across the driveway off the end of the cul-de-sac, and then as part of the site plan for lot 2, when that time comes in the near future, you'll see an entrance into lot 2 off of this access road, but it will be gated. So the emergency access road will be gated somewhere near the lot 1 and lot 2 boundary, so that it's not a regular access. It is an emergency access, to the satisfaction of the fire of Captain Moran.
Thank you, John. I'm all set.
Todd, do you have any questions or comments?
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, I do have just a couple comments and 1 or 2 questions. Thank you for the sidewalk and the street trees. It's a big improvement to the design, at least in my opinion, and I'm grateful for their inclusion. On sheet C, board point 7, the accessible curb ramp detail, I noticed that the detectable warning panel is missing. So I just wanted to make sure that you do plan to insert a detectable warning panel per ADA requirements.
Yes, yes, we will. My understanding is that ADA is evaluating certain acceptable brands of the detectable warning plate, but yes, absolutely we will. The ones that meet ADA compliance.
Perfect, thank you. The other, and my understanding is, and I pointed this out on a different project, and for the street tree species, I noticed that the section 4.11.5 of the subdivision, this is sheet C 4.5, does list Norway maple. However, those have since been put on Massachusetts invasive species do not plant list. So I just want to make sure that that's not a species chosen for this project, because they are not allowed to be planted. New plants are not allowed to be planted in Massachusetts now.
I was not aware that Norway maple was on that list, so thank you for pointing that out. We will remove that from the detail on the final plans, which is hopefully the next set that we produce will be the final plans. And we're happy to accept the condition that all, despite what the subdivision regulations allow, all trees as considered to be invasive species would not be planted.
Great, thank you. The last thing, in terms of the street light that you are proposing, do you know if the fixture is dark sky compliant?
I believe it is. If it needs to be, again, we're happy to have that be a condition as well. The cap that sits on top of that fixture is a solid cap, so it doesn't allow light to exit through the top. So, but I can certainly verify that, but I can also accept a condition that street lights be dark sky compliant.
I don't want to speak for the other members of the board, but I'd be in favorable of that condition. The last thing I have, and I apologize if this was discussed at the first meeting when I had to leave early. In your discussions with Mass DOT, did you consider or look at creating a four-way intersection, bringing your street so it aligns with West Tech Drive and creating a four-way intersection that could be signalized?
We definitely did, but what I would like to do is let Heather, our traffic engineer from Greenman Peterson, who's on the meeting, I'd like her to respond to that, because we've had this discussion in different small circles as this permitting has, occurred with other agencies as well. So Heather, take it away.
Good evening, everyone. For the record, I'm Heather Monacup with Greenman Peterson, the traffic engineer for the proposed project. We did receive comments from VHB that were similar to this about making the driveways four-way intersections, and even before the comment letter came out, we were able to do that with our western driveway. However, the eastern driveway, we did look into making it more of a four-way with Patrick Mazda there, because that's closer to where we're proposing it right now. However, we're unable to do that at this point because of the utility easement that is there. We wouldn't be able to keep a roadway right underneath the utility easement. So we were unable to align that intersection. However, in our response to comments that was submitted for review back to the town in VHB, we did analyze it as a four-way intersection because they are only slightly offset. So not only did we update our traffic volumes as requested during the Saturday midday peak hour by VHB, we also analyze that as a four-way intersection, and that will go to Mass DOT. It is their jurisdiction for their review and comment.
And Todd, just to add to that, anytime you try to do some work in New England Power Company's electric easement, they have very strict requirements. Oftentimes, they'll allow it, through what they call an assent agreement process. But it's 99.9% of the time, when you're accessing their easement, it needs to be as perpendicular to the easement as possible. So when we were proposing sewer initially to run perpendicular to the easement and then through the property at 50 Washington to the Winbrook Mobile Home Park, we had their initial approval because we were perpendicular, but in order to make a four-way intersection with the Patrick Mazda driveway or even potentially West Tech, we'd have not being compliant with strict national grid easement, regulations and policies, and not to mention significant topographic and wetland alteration challenges. So, but to the credit of the board's peer review consultant VHB, as Heather indicated, they requested kind of some input on that same topic, and Heather provided a very robust response. And we hope that VHB finds that satisfactory as they perform their second and hopefully final review as well.
Okay, great. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm all set.
Is there anyone?
John?
Okay, Ron, I knew you were on. I knew you were caller number one.
All right, I didn't know you knew.
So write it down, Rachel, Ron Brooks is in attendance, please. And if you have any comments, Ron, feel free.
No, not at this time.
Oh, good. So, well, I guess it's my turn. So on page C 3.1, Steve, where you illustrate your 3 quote-unquote permanent benchmarks,
Yep.
the only permanent one is the one on the electric manhole. One of the trees not permanent, and a nail in the pavement's not permanent. The nails come out with a plow and a tree grows. So my suggestion is, you can put a permanent benchmark on a bound, a granite bound or a concrete property bound. That's fine, it's permanent, it's not gonna go anywhere. They're buried deep enough so they don't get raised up and down with the frost. You can put a permanent benchmark for the future on a hydrant that's on the roadway. That's another permanent. But the tree and the pavement don't work. I don't know if.
Okay, happy to make that adjustment.
And then on the electric manhole, where you have it as permanent, there should be like an X cut in the frame, because you always take it off the frame, but if someone goes up there to use the benchmark, and I don't know what the crown is on the road, they could be on the wrong side of the cover, and you could be off by maybe even as much as a tenth. And if somebody's setting grades at 004 for anything inside a building, for drainage inside the building or sewer inside the building, it'll throw them off. So just a little small X cut, and that would work, and then put the other 2 on bound or on a hydrant.
Okay, yep, no problem. Thank you.
And then, on your typical utility trench on page C 4.1, I'm assuming that could be a sewer pipe, could be a drain pipe. It's just typical utility, correct? And that.
Yes, correct.
And that is 3/4 inch stone around it?
Yes, it is.
It doesn't identify, it just says bedding, but the standard pretty much now, Steve, from what I've seen, is you line the trench with filter fabric, put your stone in, place your pipe, and fold the filter fabric over the top. And I didn't see that detail in here.
Okay, yep, this is a revised detail from our original plans when you had some comments.
Yep.
So I'm happy to incorporate some additional revisions on this detail.
I appreciate it. And then on the vertical granite curbing detail right next to that, where you have it on compacted gravel, I mean, you can do that. I just think it's easier to put it on concrete bricks.
Okay.
I mean, that's what most of the curb layers do. Now that we have to go underneath the curb curb back in the day, you didn't have to go underneath the curb, you just went on one side of it. And now everybody wants it all over the road.
Right.
On the unencased duct conduit on the same page, detail 7, that should be sand surrounding that, not base material. So it's easier identifiable when you break through the ribbon, and then you get down, you find sand, you know you're on a utility. You go to construction details, C 4.2, it's got to be cost. On detail 5, the corrugated polyethylene flared end section, why not concrete? The flared ends don't seem to hold up over time. They get bent, the dirt falls in, they get out of alignment. But, I mean, I don't think a flared end for this size pipe, it could be that expensive. Concrete, precast.
Yep. Yeah, no, I agree. We could, we'll swap that out for our CP.
Awesome. And on C 4.4, on your precast concrete drain manholes, you know, you're not going to have sewer manholes anymore. Just a point, you got to have you should have a 1% slope on whether it's concrete or brick invert going toward the invert, you know, slope up from the invert at 1%. And then on the joints, it didn't specify on the precast sections of the manhole whether you're going to put that together with, you know, Conceal or Kent Seal or some other butyl manufacturer. It just looked dry.
Okay.
And this is just a curious, for me, is detail 2 on the deep sump catch basin where you have they used to call it Boston traps, but you have the cast iron trap. I was just curious what the distance from the invert of the pipe is to the bottom of the hood. I didn't see that dimension. I just saw the 4 feet to the bottom of the hood.
I don't have that information on the top of my head. That's the EJ Prescott brand, but I know it probably varies from manufacturer to manufacturer. But I could provide that for the one that we're specifying.
Okay, that'd be great. And I don't have to worry about your chimney detail, the sewer. And then on the details on C 4.6, the hydrant should be set, to me, should be set on the 4-inch by 16-inch by 8-inch wide. You put 2 of them side by side, set them in, so it's at the bottom flange right there sits right on it. And then I see you have the roofing.
Can you say that again, Mr. Chairman?
Yeah, you just you've seen the solid rectangular concrete blocks. They're 4 inches thick, they're like 8 inches wide, 16 inches long. You put 2 of them side by side under the center of the hydrant, and the hydrant sets on that instead of trying to set it on stone, because sometimes it'll tend to settle on you, and the hydrant will tip, but if you put it on the it won't.
You may not have noticed, we do call for a stone or precast bearing plate, 4 inches thick by 15 inches square. There's a lot of words on that detail. It probably could be depicted more clearly, but there's some text there that points to it. But your point's well taken. We can clean that detail up.
That's exactly what I was looking for. Exactly. Perfect.
Okay, great.
And then I was wondering if you're using Megalug fittings, because on a hydrant.
Yeah, whatever the Auburn Water District will require.
Okay, because usually on a hydrant connection, you have the T with the, it's called the valve anchoring T, so the valve goes right on the T, and that's what the swivel gland is for. And that way, that's tied to the T, so you don't have to worry about that, and then Megalug from there to the hydrant.
Yep. We'll be obligated to provide whatever the Auburn Water District is going to require. If that's what they do, then that's what we'll have to do. But I agree with your assessment.
I can't find the curb stops for the. Oh, there it is. The curb stop should also be set on a concrete block. And what that does is, you know how the bottom of the box, Steve, is? It's got a U shape to it, so it fits over the pipe.
Yeah.
If somebody runs over that, it tends to shear the pipe. So if you put a block underneath the actual curb stop, that prevents that from happening. Speaking from experience, because it's happened to me. And I think that's all the comments I had. If that street light does not emit light from the top, I think it's a nice design for the street light. Kind of adds a little character. No, I think this is my last comment. No, it isn't. On sheet C 6.4, on your curb detail, I know you're putting in the bituminous curbing, and the way this detail shows is the bituminous curbing sits down into the gravel compacted subbase, where the bituminous curb would actually sit on the binder, and then you put the top course down.
Yeah, these details get a little bit tricky because, you know, the intent is to show so many other things.
Right.
But a thorough guy like you notices that sort of stuff, so we'll clean that up.
I just didn't want the contractor to say, well, it shows it on the plans, that's how I'm doing it.
Change order, change order number 1.
Yeah, exactly. Just out of curiosity, do you know what Class DI? I don't know what Class DI the town of Auburn calls for the water main on C 7.1, probably Class 52, that's general.
Yeah, 50, should be 52, yeah.
Okay, and then last but not least, the bridge crossings with the sewer and the water main. Well, the sewer's not there anymore, so you don't have to worry about that. But the water main, I didn't see a detail for that installation. I may have missed it. But I was wondering how thick the insulation was. Was there aluminum jacket, protective jacket going over the insulation? All that stuff.
Yeah, we did not specify or provide a detail on the insulation. There's, a number of products out there. If you'd like us to check with the Auburn Water and Sewer Departments, we can do that and inspect the insulation.
That would be great, whatever they want. I don't know, is this Auburn Water Department or is it Elm Hill?
Auburn Water.
Is that okay?
Yep. And the reason we'll need, we've got plenty of cover over those pipes, worked out really well. It's just that the underside, under the culvert,
Right.
will be at risk. Probably more so the water than the sewer because of the heat that the biology puts off in the sewer, but, always safe, better to insulate.
Oh, absolutely. All you need is a frozen water main down there in the middle of January and there's a fire. That would not be good. Is there anyone else that has any comments? Being none, may I have a motion to continue this to our June 8th meeting?
John, this is Steve. I'll make that motion.
I'll take Steve as a motion. Ronnie, I'll take yours as a second. All those in favor? Todd?
Aye.
Steve?
Aye.
Ron?
Aye.
And myself, John Regas, and I. It is a vote. We'll see you guys in 2 weeks. Great job so far.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Next up.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Next up on the agenda, applicant Modern Structures Incorporated, a definitive subdivision plan for 3 building lots and construction of roadway and related infrastructure improvements on property located at 92 Tinker Hill Road, map 59, parcel 5. We have received an email, which I'm sure you guys have read, but Adam got the letter from them on Thursday, and they are requesting to withdraw without prejudice for this project because of the cost of materials. Am I correct, Adam?
That's correct. That's
Number one, could I have a motion to close this hearing?
Steve. I'll make a motion to close the hearing.
May I have a second?
I'll second, John.
Thank you, Ron. All those in favor? Todd?
Aye.
Steve?
Aye.
Ron?
Aye.
I myself, John Regan, is an aye. It is a vote. May I have a motion to allow the withdrawal of this without prejudice, so they'll have the ability to reapply at a later date?
This is Steve. I'll make that motion.
May I have a second?
This is Todd. I'll second it.
All those in favor? Todd?
Aye.
Steve?
Aye.
Ron?
Aye.
Myself, John Regan, it is a vote. Moving on to other business, we have a discussion on our summer schedule. What's in the works, Adam?
So past few years, the board's voted to, instead of meeting twice in July and August, to just meet once in July and once in August. There hasn't been a whole lot coming in. I don't have anything currently scheduled for July or August, but the board's pleasure to shorten the number of meetings be great.
Does any member that's in attendance on the board, and including you two, Rachel, have an objection to having one meeting in July and one meeting in August? Todd, do you have any objection?
No, I do not.
Steve?
No objection, but I was wondering if we do one for July and then see what comes in and then make a decision on August after that.
Good.
Yeah, I can play it by ear. It kind of depends on what comes in when we're going to schedule a public hearing, but I can play it by ear.
That's fine with me. Ron, do you have any problem with that?
Oh, maybe there won't be anything in August and we won't have any.
You never know.
Maybe.
Rachel, do you have a problem with any of that? See,
I don't, John. Thank you for asking.
you're welcome. So that's what we'll do. We'll plan on having our next two meetings in June, one meeting in July, and then we'll go from there.
So it'll be July 13th would be, I think, the one meeting in July.
Sounds good to me. Well, after the 4th of July. Next on the agenda is meeting minutes. May I have a motion to approve meeting minutes for the planning board meeting of May 11th, 2021?
John, I'll make that motion.
May I have a second?
This is Todd. I'll second.
Thank you, Todd. All those in favor? Todd?
Aye.
Steve?
Aye.
Ronnie?
Aye.
Myself, John Regan, is an aye. It is a vote. Next up is the town, any new business unforeseen by me? No. Town planner update. We have a vacancy.
We have one vacancy currently. We'll soon have two vacancies. Currently, we have the alternate position is currently vacant, so we're seeking applicants to that position. And Nicholas Lynch has indicated he won't be seeking reappointment when his term ends June 30th. So we will be seeking to fill his seat starting in July. So there are information available on the town's website, and we're taking applications for those two seats right now.
Very good. And then next on that is the open space recreation plan update.
So some of you, I think, know I've been updating you on a fairly regular basis. The Open Space Committee's been meeting once a month. This Open Space Forum is an opportunity for the public to provide some input on what they'd like to see the town pursue for recreational amenities and protecting the open space. That is scheduled for June 7th at 6 p.m. That will be virtual meeting. The information is available on the town website, or anybody can contact me for more information.
Next up on the list is our next meeting can be in person here at Town Hall on June 8th.
That is correct. To the chair, I received an email from the town manager earlier this evening with the state of emergency ending June 15th and the ceasing of wearing the masks. We can now start meeting in person starting June 1st. We have to start meeting in person after June 15th unless something happens to change in the meantime. So our next meeting, June 8th, could be in person, probably in the Board of Selectmen room, because that is the most spaced out place.
That makes sense to have it here in the selectmen's room, as long as there's no conflict with other committees. Are we good?
Through the chair.
Yes.
Yeah, I have a Adam, does that mean remote participation by anyone else will not be happening during that meeting? Or will they still be remote participation?
At this time, I just received the notice an hour and a half ago, so this could change, but at this time, there will be no remote participation. All be in person.
Just like the old days.
Right.
Mr. Chairman, this is Todd. Through the chair, I was at a virtual conference today that Mass DOT held, and the Secretary of Transportation passed on a message from the governor that he was extending the open meeting law waiver, allowing virtual meetings through September 1st in order to allow the legislature time to act and potentially change any laws allowing for virtual participation. Adam, might want to check into to that just to confirm it.
Sure, and like I
Yeah,
said,
he may be allowing it, but that doesn't mean we can't meet in person.
Yeah, I prefer meeting in person. I just wanted to let you know that this wasn't up today.
I'm looking forward to seeing you guys. I just wasn't sure how the rest of the meeting or participation would take place.
like I said, I just received this an hour and a half ago, so this may change over the next week. I will obviously definitely let everybody know what the deal is prior to the June 7th, June 8th meeting, one way or the other.
So hopefully, the plan will stand, and we'll all meet on June 8th here in the selectmen's room. Have a little breathing room, too, which will be nice. Does anybody have anything else they'd like to bring up before I ask for a motion to adjourn the meeting?
Yep. I have one thing. So I wanted to commend Adam for the work on the Leesville Pond walk shop, as well as all the work with the Open Space Committee. And hopefully, if you guys have time to join the public hearing and listen to what other people might have and how far we've come on the open space and recreation plan. So appreciate that.
It's June 7th, correct?
Correct.
So is that going to be in person?
No, that's been advertised as virtual, so I don't have any plans to change that.
May I have a motion to adjourn the meeting?
I'll make that motion.
May I have a second?
I'll second it, John.
All those in favor? Todd?
Aye.
Steve?
Aye.
Ron?
Aye.
Myself, John Regan, is an aye. It is a vote. Have a great night, guys, and looking forward to seeing you in 2 weeks.
Same here, John. Enjoy.
All right, thank you.